Welcome back to the channel, everyone. You are officially in the Commish's lair. We have, the setup now. Finally, I got the desk in here. The microphone's working. No black box on the screen anymore. So production's going up. I'm excited for what this channel has to come this year. But if you're new here, this is a golf channel primarily, so we're going to be focusing on one and done format, golf betting, daily fantasy. We'll do some other sports as well, but primarily golf. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. Maybe call your grandma, call your grandpa, maybe tell them to subscribe if they like golf. But at the end of the day, click that like button. The ball's not moving, so smack it. Smack that button, hit subscribe, bang, bang, bang. Biggity bop, biggity bop. Let's get this thing rolling. Welcome back to the Commish's Lair for another episode of the life of a commissioner. Can't wait for what we have in store for you guys today. So stay tuned throughout this video. We've got a ton of stuff to digest, a ton of hot topics here in the world of golf. So hit that subscribe button, take your mom's phone, take your grandma's phone, and hit that subscribe button for me. Would do me a huge service. Really want to gather you guys' support and start kind of giving you guys what you want, the content you need in the world of golf. So let's get this thing rolling. What a week we have upcoming. Lots to digest and talk about here today. The Genesis Invitational is here. But at a non-traditional venue. We're moving to Torrey Pines South Course due to the fires in LA. So definitely share your love and support to anyone you know out there in LA that's having a tough time with the fires. I'm certain that any donation will go a long way. So definitely show your support. But in terms of golf, we had a venue switch from Riviera. Historically, that's where this event is played, and now it is at Torrey Pines South Course. Another hot topic of the week is Tiger Woods withdrawing. He came out with his note yesterday that he will not be playing in this event. I know he really wanted to be there, so I know the golf world wanted him there as well, but we will have to wait a little longer to see Tiger tee it up here in 2025. I know we're all waiting for that and really excited about that. So, but anyways, we're going to get into the picks here soon for one and done specifically. But wanted to quickly kind of shout out the reason and inspiration to this channel. I can't wait for what's in store this year and kind of just to see where this channel goes. But kind of the inspiration came from a guy that I've been watching a long time in YouTube, just to kind of get my picks and kind of use him for my process. But Rick Gaiman, so he started this one and done world championship, which I have 4 entries to, I think he's one of the most influential podcasters in kind of the world of golf. And he does, so much more than just that. But definitely go check him and the guys out on the First Cut if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you in the community know who they are. They do a great job and are super entertaining, always cooking up some fun bets. So definitely go check them out. But anyways, in terms of this one and done world championship, I wanted to quickly deep dive for you guys to kind of show you a little bit more about what this is. So I touched on it last week, but there's 3,700 entries. And so this is the same format as I do over here on Office Football Pool. So there's definitely some small setting differences between the leagues here, but to kind of talk more about this one, the overall prize for this one, if you happen to land first out of 3,704 entries, is 50 grand. So just a massive amount. And I think it's an awesome thing and great job by Rick to get this thing filled up. I think for a while they were looking at a pretty large overlay, so props to him for getting that thing filled. So there's kind of no underlying advantage to joining this anymore, but it's just it's going to be a great season, and just this is a great event. So I'm hoping they do this every year, and I think it will get bigger each year. So that's pretty cool. Another cool thing are the segments. So if you get top 10, you got a chance to win your money back, or even a lot more than that for the specific segment. So how that works is, each segment has an X amount of tournaments. So right now we're in segment number 1, heading into, I think, the 3rd tournament, the Genesis. So this started at Pebble. And so, you can kind of make some of your money back if you get top 10 in any of these segments. And it's my understanding that they restart each segment. So another kind of cool thing is, if you do play your way out of it throughout the season, you always have a chance to kind of win still with these segments. So I think that's a really cool part of this contest, and definitely something I recommend joining next year if you didn't get in this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely be kind of keeping in tune with my standings here. I don't know if I can show you on the computer what place some of these are in, or the picks, just because the app is not set up for it. Yeah, so we'll kind of touch in that at times when I kind of pull up my phone, and I can give you an update of where my entries lie in that pool. Anyways, back to the life of a commissioner. So not a lot of change here in our league specific to one and done. It seems like most people kind of stayed ground, and that was to be expected with a small purse event, and no one had Thomas Dietrich, so not a lot of movement in the standings therefore. So what that typically means is there's going to be some chaos coming up here the next few weeks. We got a couple signature events coming pretty soon, so it starts off with a huge $20 million purse this week, with $4 million, I believe, going to first. So usually I think it's 3.6, but I'm pretty sure for this event it's going to be $4 million to the winner. So what that means is down here sitting at 122,000, $4 million puts you right at the top. So a lot could change this week in terms of the standings here in our league. And another thing I kind of want to keep in touch with is the cashes over here on the right. So as you can see, the guy in first place right now, he is 6 for 6. And that's essentially just made cuts or missed cuts. And so we'll be tracking that throughout the year as well. For our specific league, there are some additional cuts at the non-cut events. So I know that sounds kind of confusing, but for example, Pebble Beach is a no-cut event. So all golfers in that field played all 4 rounds. But for our specific league, we kind of have a fake cut, more or less, and what that is if your golfer's top 50, then you're going to get a cash for that week, and you don't owe 5 to the cut pool. So just kind of a small thing there. But anyways, let's kind of do a quick recap. I won't do tons of time on the recap of each week, but we took Siwoo last week, and he made the cut and got a T21 finish. It was certainly nerve-wracking after round 1. I was not feeling too hot about the pick, but I knew that going in, it was going to be very hit or miss with Siwoo. So I'm glad he kind of found his game going into round 2 and made an awesome little comeback to make the cut on the number. So he started his round and made that bogey. I certainly kind of tuned out after that, but it was cool to see he went on a birdie barrage middle of the round 2 to kind of storm back and make the cut, and then ended up playing pretty well over the weekend with a couple 67s. Not a huge paycheck though. I don't think that was probably in the 90 to 100 grand range, which is not going to do much in terms of my standings. As you can see, I didn't really make a ton of leeway there. But Thomas Dietrich, huge win. 66, 64, 65, 65. Unbelievable golf, winning the tournament by 7. The one thing I wanted to touch on for waste management, it seems like majority of the time, or at least in the recent 5 years or so, we get breakout candidates here that win the waste management. Now, I know Nick Taylor, and it's actually giving me chills as I think about it, but Nick Taylor had that awesome breakout at the Canadian Open where he won in that playoff against Tommy Fleetwood with the huge putt in his home country. Just an awesome result. And some may consider that his breakout for sure. But for me, I look at his breakout being the Waste Management win. It felt like it really solidified him in his kind of stardom on tour. I think, you don't really consider Nick Taylor to be a star golfer by any means, but I think he really did break out last year with his Waste Management win. And now, we got to see another win in clutch fashion at the Sony this year in 2025. So I think he's kind of solidified that breakout, but I think it really did culminate at the Waste Management. And so what I mean by all of this is just, Thomas Dietrich could be a 2025 breakout candidate, and I think it may have already kind of started with the win here, the 7-shot win. Another breakout was Scottie Scheffler, for example. He won this. This was his first tournament win, and from there he broke out. So I think there's some small. I know you don't want to compare courses to Augusta, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But there's some small correlation that I'm seeing from guys that win this event here, the Waste Management. They tend to do fairly well at Augusta as well. So I'm just thinking Scotty, Hideki, Ricky Fowler. Who else does well? I think Nick Taylor doesn't play bad at Augusta. I think he's had some decent finishes. I totally could be wrong on that, but off the top of my head, I think he's fared okay. But Hideki, Scotty, I think even Dietrich had a sneaky 4th place at Augusta last year. So just someone to keep kind of on your radar as a low-owned one-and-done selection for Augusta, because most guys are going to go the live strategy, which we'll touch on that definitely throughout the year. But I think a lot of people will kind of implement that live golf at majors, since you can't use them for any other tournaments. So Dietrich is going to be an interesting. You'll almost certainly be the only one to pick him if you use him at Augusta. But I'm going to be really watching him over the next few weeks to kind of see how he plays and continues this form. So he's really on my radar right now. Let's kind of move in here to the pick of the week for the Genesis, because there's a lot to get to, a lot of golfers to talk about here. But there's one thing, we cannot talk picks without the Sunnies. So let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Tons of big names here at the Genesis, and tons of data that we have at our kind of exposure with the recent Farmers Insurance event being played at this course. So we kind of have all we need in terms of course data and course history. So it's going to be interesting to see where a lot of people land at one and done. I could definitely see the case for a lot of these guys being made. And it is a big purse event. So, the difference between this week and making a pick for one and done and last week is these big name guys are all up for grabs. And I'm not even going to limit it to Scottie Scheffler. So, I think anyone's up for grabs this week in terms of making your one and done selection. So you kind of want to consider all your options. But that's also not to say, you have to take one of these top 10 guys. There are tons of names that you can use, even well into the top 40 guys. I mean, there are some names. For example, Rasmus Højgaard, Taylor Pendrith, Harris English won the event, the Farmers Insurance, and he's played extremely well at this course in particular. I have it pulled up, but he got third here at the U.S. Open back in 2021. So, it's a tough decision this week for many of you in one and done. And so I'm kind of here to help dive into it and consider all your options. So let's get rolling on this. No more time to waste. Victor, I want to start there. He's a clear stash for me, so I won't be using Victor this week, but I was very excited to see him play at Pebble and at least kind of get a top 25, even in a small field event, a signature event, just seeing him kind of shake off some rust and shake off some of the poor play he's had was great to see. I mean, I know he had that second, and I say poor play with some of these pretty solid finishes, honestly. But the miscut at the British, I think everyone in the golf community knew that Hovland was struggling, so it was cool to see him kind of find a little something at Pebble. But he's a clear stash this week for me. A lot of guys are going to use Rory, which totally makes sense. Coming off the win at Pebble, he looked outrageously good. That driver of his is really becoming a problem for pretty much any time he tees it up, any tournament. It's becoming a problem for the field. He is absolutely smoking that thing and hitting it so dang straight and just got the swagger. He's got the swagger right now. So Rory I could see being super popular. Hideki I don't envision being very popular just because he's played in every event, it feels like, in 2025, which I don't think is really the worst thing, but I think people are concerned with him right now. So he plays well here at this type of course. So he's another potential option in one and done. And he's hard to use. I feel like there's so many places you could use Hideki, and I feel like when he wins, it's pretty random, and it's not always like course fit based. I just feel like when he wins, he's putting well and he pops off, and just no one can beat him. So he's hard to pick for one and done to kind of pinpoint the right week for him. But I do like him at a couple spots for sure. But I'm torn with him this week. I feel like he'll be lower owned, which is definitely kind of fits my criteria. I don't like being on the popular pick until I do. But Aberg is definitely on my short list this week. I'm hoping people are concerned with him and his sickness, and just I'm hoping they think he's rusty or whatever. I would love to use him this week. I just really love his game, and I think he drives the ball super, super well. And I also think that there's kind of a small storyline there in terms of him throwing up 3 weeks ago on the South Course to kind of coming back and getting his revenge and winning this event. I could certainly see Ludwig having a great week, and he's going to be at the top of my list. Not looking to Fleetwood this week. I have JT permanently stored for a specific event this year, so I won't be using him either. I'm actually really happy that I still have him because I think a lot of people have burned him. So far, I want to say probably 10 to 15 people in our league of 43 have used him already, so it's kind of nice to still have him in the arsenal. Bobby Mack's playing fantastic golf. I think there's better course fits. Cantlay is very interesting this week. I think he is calling my name just because people are so off him. And I feel like a lot of guys are going to go with the Rory, Ludwig. I'm hoping not Ludwig, but I think some of the savvier one-and-done players will target him. And Rory, I think most people will stay away from Morikawa, and most will stay away from Scheffler as well. But I think kind of your popular plays are going to be the Rory, Ludwig, and JT plays. So Cantlay is interesting to me. I don't know how to pinpoint him. He's had a good start to the season, which is encouraging. Had a good finish to the season as well. I think his game is been just average for his standards, no doubt about it. He plays well at the Genesis, which is Riviera, but I think he just plays well in California generally. He did play at the Farmers this year. He did play last year and got 56th. So that's, not great, but a made cut at the Farmers is a made cut at the Farmers. And to me, that's one of the hardest cuts to make on tour. I just feel like there's always some flukiness going on with that cut. So he did make the cut, but it seems like he didn't have the best weekend, which is at the South Course. So just something to note with Patrick Cantlay if you want to go his way. But he's certainly, I'm considering him no matter what. Sepp Straka just continues to play well. But we finally stumble upon my pick of the week. Shane Lowry will be used here. I know he's coming off a second, which just kind of solidified things for me. I think the weather is going to be interesting to kind of watch. I need to really keep up with this all the way up until Thursday tips off, because I do think there will be a weather edge. So just something to keep in mind when you make your pick this week is, will it be crazy out there? Will it be windy? Will the Thursday morning guys have an edge over the Thursday afternoon guys? Just kind of keep that in the back of your head when you're making your one and done pick, because it does matter to an extent when you're making your selection, because you could get screwed and take a guy that might be lower owned, who gets that bad wave and just gets terrible weather and is fighting to make the cut, and that's not a place you want to be when you can just take the guy that goes out in the better wave, who might not even be the better golfer or better pick. So just something to consider absolutely is the weather. But Shane Lowry is the pick of the week. I'm going to go ahead and lock him in for my selection here. There's definitely some other spots you can use Shane at, and he did miss the cut here. But he got the bad end of the stick, the bad end of the weather that day at the North Course. So once again, I'm not reading into that, just like I did last week with Siwoo. I'm not reading into that week with miscuts. I think in general, there's a shot that replays in my mind, and it's his second shot from last year's event, the Farmers. Shane Lowry holdout for Albatross here. I think it was the 6th hole, which is an easier par 5 for sure, but that shot replays in my mind, and for whatever reason, I trust him at Torrey Pines. Now, we'll see if that comes to fruition this week. Obviously, he's in good form, and I think that in a mutter type of event at a long course like this, I want Shane Lowry. I like Rory as well. You probably like Rory's assets better at Torrey, so it's going to be hard. No doubt this week for Shane to come out on top of Rory. So I'm definitely nervous about that. But to me, I trust Shane. I hope he's lower owned. I think more guys will go with the Rorys, and I think I just get some sort of leverage here taking Lowry instead. But to touch on some other names, I think in this top 30 over here, McNeely plays well here. Finau plays well here. Batia is very interesting. I could see maybe one or two guys trying to get sneaky and taking Batia. Jason Day is a great option here. I think there's 3 guys that aren't in this top 20 portion of the board that are going to gain some popularity just because of their course history, and that's Jason Day, that's Taylor Pendrith, and that is Will Zalatoris. He's definitely someone you want to consider this week. Now, that's why I love one and done, is you can go all the way down here, and you could take Jake Knapp if you want to get really creative and create some leverage. For me, I can't do that this week. I don't recommend that strategy either, but I'm not saying you shouldn't consider it. I just think with a $4 million first place prize up for grabs, he's going to be a stay away. But I do think he's worth a consideration at least. Like, all these guys in the field are worth a consideration in one and done, and that's what makes this thing so fun. Is you can scroll down the board and take them in Moo Lee and get spicy. I'm never gonna fault anyone for getting spicy, but my pick of the week is gonna be Shane Lowry. I'm pumped up. I can't wait. Let's roll. Our first player review on the channel here is going to be Adam Scott. So typically what I'm going to do moving forward, I picked one this week, but typically I'll spin a wheel with kind of the names on my list, and we'll just dive into that player. So that way I don't have as much prep, and I just kind of have to go off the top of my head, which I tend to think kind of creates some better content and just kind of some funnier moments. So but for today's purposes, no wheel, so we're going to just go with Adam Scott. Now, I think he's a great kind of person to review. He had his awesome win at Augusta, which was, this moment here on the 10th, 2013. Bang. Awesome moment there. But he's just had such a cool career. So he's notorious for having just the perfect swing, which I think is, so envious. Or like, I'm so envious of that, because my swing is just horrible. Complete dog shit. Dog shite. But his swing is perfect, and when you watch it, it's just like, it's beautiful, and it's aesthetic. It is smooth. But it's kind of cool to see that a perfect swing doesn't translate to a perfect golfer. Like, I think Adam Scott's had his ups and downs throughout his career. And I think that just kind of shows you how hard golf is. It's like you can build a perfect swing, but you're always going to have your ups and downs. Like he went through a period where he really struggled to find the golf course. He was struggling off the tee. He was struggling in approach. Like, he's had his years where he's really struggled. I think he's had a bit of a resurgence, which is really, really cool to see. And this is a really strong note for one and done strategy, just to kind of touch on it a little bit. When you're thinking about your player pool and the golfers you want to take throughout the season, like, don't just eliminate these older players. The Keegan Bradleys of the world, for example. He was such a great option late last season. And I feel like not a lot of people probably expect that, or expect these older golfers to compete still. But that's the beauty of golf, is anyone, any given week, can kind of show you what they're made of. And I think a lot of us kind of gravitate towards those younger pop stars, like the Akshay Bhatiyas, the Ludwig Aubert, like those type of players pop more and gain more stardom just because they're younger and they're, oh my gosh, he's 17 and he's about to win a golf tournament. Like, I think, obviously that's just natural to gravitate towards. But don't forget about these older players like Adam Scott. He's got that 14 career win. He won at the Masters, just the most coveted event. He's been around for so long, 409 events played. That's 16 second places, 14 wins, 11 third. And you can see his official money and when he joined the tour here. But you scroll through, he's a Genesis GOAT. He's always played well at Riviera. It's not there this year, but it's kind of been a while since he won before the Genesis in 2020. So we're coming up on quite a while, which is natural, obviously, as he's gotten older. But I think there's a bit of a resurgence here with Adam Scott. 2024, there were some flashes of great golf. And I think he kind of shows that again here in 2025. I would not be surprised at all if we see him pop on a few leaderboards. So, don't be afraid to target him at some certain events. But overall, he's a cool guy and just someone that is going to be fun to watch as he gets older, because he's got that swing. He's got that swagger. But Adam Scott, that's our first player review. I think another kind of fun thing to touch on, he went in that 2013 Masters, he went into a playoff with the one and only Angel Cabrera. Just another moment that I loved was on the 18th hole there in 2013. Angel, it actually may not have been this exact year, but he hit a shot on the 18th and was screaming "Vuele," which is, I think it's Argentinian for, or I guess Spanish for go. I think he left his shot a little bit short, maybe chunked it a little bit. So just kind of a funny moment when you hear him yelling. I think it might have been his caddy actually that was yelling "Vuele," but definitely something I always bring to the course with some buddies when I chunk a shot. I'll be screaming "Vuele." So, anyways, thanks for tuning in and sticking around for the pick of the week, Shane Lowry, for one and done. So we'll kind of see how things progress this week at the Genesis, but good luck to all of you out there that are playing DFS. doing all sorts of different stuff. I definitely think it might be worth it to hop in a draft. Should we? I think we're going to. Let's do it. We're not ending the video just yet. Let's do a draft. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm definitely going to be doing a Valentine's Day giveaway. So it's going to be a random person that likes and comments on the video. And then I'll also be giving out a Valentine's Day giveaway to a subscriber. So I'm going to pick a random subscriber and give you a free $5 entry into one of the round 1 or round 2, even, just whatever ends up working out best. But one of those showdown contests, you will get a free entry. So random subscriber, look out for that. Hit that subscribe button. So much fun this week at the Waste Management. I hope you all had a blast. That Emiliano Grillo ace was awesome. Great seeing, one of those every single year at the 16th hole. But have some fun at the Genesis if you're going. And if not, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Peace. Representing, I can't pipe down. Come on, jump, go on, jump.